Welcome to AV3-4, surface area of cylinders and cones. Learning target, I can calculate the surface area of cylinders and cones. So let's take a minute to start talking about the surface area of a cylinder. The surface area of a cylinder is the area of two circles plus a rectangle with sides that are the height and the circumference. So if you look up here at the picture, if you were to imagine the flat pattern of a cylinder or unwrapping the cylinder, what would happen is if you think of a soup can, this here would create the label of that soup can, which you can see is like a rectangle. Now we have the height of it over here, and along the bottom, what really happens is it takes the circumference of the circle and it lays it all out. So that's why we get the circumference times the height for the rectangle, and then we have the top and the bottom, which are just circles. You can also look at mathopenreference.com/cylinders area to see a little bit more. Okay, so here is the actual formula. We have our two circles, the area of those, plus the actual rectangle. So that's where these come from. A stands for area, R stands for radius, H stands for height. So 2 pi r squared plus 2 pi rh. Let's now do a couple of examples. So let's start with our Parmesan cheese container. We always start by writing our formula. Surface area equals 2 pi r squared plus 2 pi rh. We just substitute what we know. 2 pi, the radius is 1.4, so we'll square that, plus 2 pi, the radius again is 1.4, times the height of the cylinder, which is 6. All right, so now let's do some multiplying. We can do 1.4 squared, which is 1.96, and we can multiply that by 2 to get 3.92 pi, plus on the other side we're going to do 1.4 times 6, which is 8.4 times 2 to get 16.8 pi. These are like terms because they both have pi, so I can add them together. And I get 20.72 pi. Again, we're going to leave this in terms of pi, so this will be our final answer with a label of inches squared because we're talking surface area. Go ahead and try the next one on your own first and then press play to check your answer. So pause the video. You should have gotten 22.72 pi. As a reminder, you need to show the formula, you need to show your work. One thing to note here, the radius was half of the diameter that was given, so 3.2 divided by 2 got me a radius of 1.6. All right, now let's talk about surface area of a cone. The surface area of a cone is the area of one circle plus a sector with radius that is the slant height of the cone. So if you look at our picture, we have the base, we have a flat pattern, so the base, and then we unwrapped the other part, and you can see that the radius is the same thing as that slant height. So for our formula, we will use surface area equals pi times radius squared plus pi times radius times slant height. So A stands for surface area of a cone. R stands for radius of the base. Make sure the radius of the base. And then L is slant height of the cone. Let's take a look at an example. Find the surface area of a cone with a slant height of 7 and a radius of the base of 3. So let's start with our formula. Make sure you get this memorized. Surface area equals pi r squared plus pi r L. We'll substitute what we know. pi times radius, which is 3 squared, plus pi times radius, which is 3, times slant height of 7. Now we just need to multiply. 3 squared is 9 pi, plus 3 times 7 is 21, so 21 pi. These both have pi, so they're like terms. We can combine them. 30 pi centimeters squared. Again, surface areas are units squared, and we want to leave this in terms of pi. All right, let's look at another example. Find the surface area of a cylinder with a height of 15, a radius of 9, and a 5 centimeter cylinder removed from the center. Always helps to draw a picture. So here we have our cylinder. And then on the inside, there is another cylinder that has been removed. Okay, so let's label what we know. The big cylinder has a height of 15. They both do, rather. And the big one has a radius of 9. The cylinder inside has a radius of 5. Okay, now we can imagine, right? We're trying to find surface area. And this here is our annulus. Okay, and we have two of those, the top and the bottom. So what we're going to do is we're going to find 2 times our annulus, which is formula's pi big radius squared minus pi little radius squared. Then I need to find the surface area of what I would consider, the label here. We need to find that surface area, which we know is 2 pi big radius times the height. But then on the inside, right, because there's that hole, we would want to, again, find this area on the inside. So we would use plus 2 pi little radius times height. Because remember, if I were to unfold those would be rectangles. From here, we're just going to substitute what we know. Our big radius is 9. Our little radius is 5. Our big radius is 9. The height is 15 plus 2 pi. Little radius is 5. And the height, again, is the same, which is 15. At this point, I need to just start doing some multiplication. So 2 pi, 9 squared is 81, minus pi, 5 squared is 25, plus 9 times 15 is 135, times 2 is 270 pi, plus 5 times 15 is 75, times 2 is 150 pi. We can do 81 pi minus 25 pi, since these are like terms, and we get 56 pi. We still have to eventually multiply it by 2, bring everything else down. I'm going to multiply that 56 by 2, and I get 112 pi plus 270 pi plus 150 pi. And I need to add those all together because they are all like terms. And I get 532 pi centimeters squared for our surface area. Again, leave it in terms of pi.